The next wave of business leaders won't just use AI, they'll master momentum with it, starting now. Welcome to the Mastering AI Momentum Show, where visionary founders and driven business leaders turn artificial intelligence, automation, and scalable systems into real growth, real scale, and real freedom. If you're ready to break bottlenecks, reclaim your title, and scale smarter, this is your playbook. Let's dive in. Here are your hosts, Allie Porter and Elise Smith.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Mastering AI Momentum Show, where today's top entrepreneurs share how they're scaling smarter, evolving faster, and navigating the future of business with or without AI. I'm Elise Smith, your host and business strategist, and I'm here with our incredible guest, Sam Nelson. Let me tell you a little bit more about him. So he is the co-founder and president of Downstreet Digital, where he leads cutting-edge marketing and political campaigns with a decade of experience in public service, including 8 years as director of digital outreach for the New York State Senate. This guy's pretty cool, guys. He's a seasoned expert in media strategy and public engagement, a contributor to the Forbes Business Council. Sam speaks on how digital innovation brings the world of politics and business together. Sam offers insights into leveraging strategies to empower political and business ventures, helping bridge the gap between civic and commercial innovation. So welcome, Sam.
Hey, I appreciate you having me, Elise. Really happy to be on.
Awesome. So in your own words, tell us who you serve and how you serve them.
Man. So, we really try at Downstreet to serve kind of the middle grounds, right? So of businesses and advocacy groups, there seems to be a bit of a gap. You've got your big digital agencies that are going to take on, and they've got their staff of 150 people, and they charge a fortune for that type of stuff. But as we all know, everybody needs digital at this point, right? Whether you're a small mom and pop shop or, a big business. At the end of the day, if you're not doing things online, you're really missing out on a lot of your customers, or just going to struggle to meet your objectives. So we really try to find that middle ground of, looking for people that need help, that want high quality work, but at the end of the day, need an affordable price for it, and just kind of to keep it simple for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have such an incredible background. So how did you get into what you're doing now?
So I think, in a way, my story is probably not all that different from a lot of entrepreneurs, in the sense that, I think a lot of us, when you get started, almost no matter what industry it is, you kind of find yourself a little, maybe annoyed's the right word, or just restricted by some of the confines of like the industry you're in, and, maybe the job. And it doesn't matter. I mean, you could be working with great people, great bosses, but sometimes you just got a little bit of an itch to go outside of that. And, that's really what happened to me. I got my start in local politics, and then started working with the New York State Senate. I really, career took off there when just kind of timing with the digital starting to take over everything. Barack Obama's campaign really demonstrated the impact that social media could have. And so I really kind of took to that, about how it was a way for kind of everyday folks to really get themselves involved in government again, in politics, and having a say. And so built that up at the Senate and tried to, do that there, and it was successful. But like I said, the itch kind of came in to kind of expand out. And to be honest, it started as like a side gig, right? Like it was, me and a couple people worked with, and just kind of a way for us to do some creative things and try to help some people we wanted to help. And next thing you know, we're like, why aren't we just doing this full time? And so I took it out and have been doing it ever since.
I love that. And how many years have you been in business?
So this will be our third year. Okay. So, like I said, you talk maybe some of the side gig stuff, maybe another year or two onto that. But third year, fully operational as its own entity.
I love that. I love how you can kind of, I mean, sometimes it does start as a side gig, right? You use the experiences and all of the things that you've been learning, especially in the political world, and then take it over to the business side. And it seems very transferable. So what were some of those early challenges that you kind of had to push through in your business?
I don't know if we have enough time. No, so a lot of the challenges are, when you start, um, it's I have a skill set, I have an idea, and I know there's a need, right? But how do I connect that to the people, right? So it's really just going out and figuring out how do you sell yourself, how do you market yourself, you know,
Yeah,
and even as someone that does marketing, sometimes marketing your own self gets like a little, all of a sudden, more of a challenge for some reason.
I know.
So that was really one of the biggest things. Was I had an internal network that I was able to tap into that kind of got me started. Um,
Mm,
and then it was, you know, how do you grow from there? How do you bring on new clients that maybe you don't know? How do you present yourself to, again, to kind of help them out, fit their needs, and show that you're the one that, should be able to do it.
yeah, absolutely. So it was your network that kind of helped you get out there. What other challenges did you have and how did you solve those?
Yeah. So, one of the, I think one of the bigger challenges is just how, when like staffing and trying to find the right people, uh, it can be tough as a small, like, kind of startup, because each hire is so vital, right? Like, it's one
Mhm.
thing if you've got a staff, like I said, 30 people, one person comes in, the system's not going to collapse if they're not so great. But when you got a team of four, so, one
Yeah.
person not pulling their weight or not fitting in, like, it can be really challenging. So trying to make sure, and go through the hiring process, being able to make sure you're assessing their skills correctly, what was definitely a challenge. I really found, uh, to try to get through that was honestly, changing the way, like, I interviewed a little bit, trying
Mm,
to be a little more, really just more direct in my questioning, and really pushing for kind of concrete examples of handling situations, work they've done, things like that. And beyond even just like the work, though, too, like with a small team, you want to make sure, for the company's sake and for their sake too, right? Are they gonna fit into the vibe you have at the company, the culture you're trying to build? And
yeah.
so kind of really getting down into some of that questioning as well, and not, really kind of just trusting your gut on some things as you're hiring stuff, like,
Mhm.
I don't think they're gonna like it here, or I don't know if they have the right experience.
Yeah.
And I think everybody's made mistakes in the hiring process. It's just part of the thing, but trying to get through it quickly, I guess, if you can.
Yeah, I know. I think I heard the other day, like hire slow and fire fast. And we've definitely seen that in our own company of when it bites you in the butt when you don't, right? Like we've taken on employees that we kind of did like a video interview, and we didn't actually do like a full interview with them, and because we had to hire fast, right? You get in a bind and you have to hire fast, and it kind of ends up biting you on the tail end. So I love that. So with these different challenges that you've experienced in your business, what would you have liked AI to do for you, like even 3 years ago or 2 years ago?
uh, you know, it, it's awesome kind of to think about what could have been a little bit, like, as it's starting out with some of the new tools that are out there.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, honestly, even just referring to like the interview thing, I mean, helping it use to help create questions, and
so
um,
true.
even if it's like anything sometimes with, AI, even if you're not just pulling it verbatim, which really you should never do, but like, it gets your brain thinking in a different way. So, um, even as well, and I'll still do this from time to time, to be honest with you. It's like, hey, what are some ideas on, marketing this or whatever? So when you talk about trying to get new clients, it really can trigger some thoughts outside the box. And man, I wish I had that, yeah, 3, 4 years ago, that would have been great.
Yeah. I know. I think about my background where I came from corporate coaching, and then I was working with Christian women entrepreneurs for business coaching. And it seems like with AI, you are never stuck anymore, right? Like there would be some times where I'm working with a client and I'm like, I just don't know how to get them through this like mindset hurdle or like physical hurdle or whatever it might be. And now you can literally just ask ChatGPT, like give it the scenario and then say, what can we do? Like, what kind of factors am I missing here to even ask about? Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so true. That's such a great way to phrase it. It's like, yeah, getting stuck doesn't cost you like a day or two as you think through it anymore. You just punch something in and it'll, like I said, it triggers so many thoughts. It's great.
Love it. Love it. So what were some big things that you like, big steps that you had to take in your business to scale to where you're at right now?
I think the biggest step was staffing. As far as how do you balance, as the workload comes in to the hiring phases, right? Those don't always like line up per se. So you have to say like, all right, when is it? The work's getting too much. Maybe it doesn't require another full person. Sometimes you just got to make that jump anyway and just trust that it's going to be happening in the next couple months anyway. So that is really, and to honestly, like it's really just like the mindset of it and being comfortable with that risk. I tend to be a planner, and so when you've got to do that, and sometimes you got to have a couple leaps of faith. I always get a little sketchy about it. But it's, at the end of the day, you just kind of got to trust yourself, trust the business, trust, who you're working with and what you have going to do that. But that was always one of the, I think one of the struggles of growing, is when the work gets a little too much, how much do you, just overload some people without burning them out before it's like, all right, it's time to, bring on a new hire.
Yeah, exactly. And I love that you brought like faith into it, right? And faith can be a spiritual thing, or it can just literally be, hey, I have faith that the next client is going to come and kind of make up for that, or that I hire the right person. I think that business takes a lot more faith than people realize. Like you are taking risks all the time as a business owner. And if you how did you actually get more comfortable in taking risks? Because it seems like just from what I've taught, I've talked to you a couple of times now, it seems like you're a little bit more on the conservative side. So I'm just curious, how did you allow yourself to take those risks in business?
It's like just a active practice of trying to get used to it. And like I probably would have, left my established career like sooner if I was even a little more comfortable with it, right? But it takes kind of a consistent effort. I guess for my personality, it does tend to be like a little more frugal, a little more like cautious on stuff.
Yeah, me too.
Right. And so it's like, all right, I lay out the numbers, and then it's like, just trust. You got to just trust yourself, trust and have faith, guy upstairs, your employees, the work you're doing, and just go for it.
Yeah.
And it takes, again, for my personality, it takes kind of constant monitoring to make sure I don't let myself fall back and be too cautious.
I love that. That's your default then, is like really risk averse.
It tends to be. There's like that internal struggle I have where I'm like, but we could do that. Why not me? Why not our company? I see things out there. And so it's like, hey, that why not? With like, ooh, man, you got to make that jump. So, so you pick and choose. You can't just go crazy with it. Right. But yeah, it's like I said, it's a balancing act and an effort to make sure I'm analyzing and pushing though when I need to push.
Yeah. And I don't think it's blind faith either. I think it's an educated leap of faith, right? You seem like you kind of like bring all the facts together and really look at what this could do for you, what kind of ROI you could have in taking this type of risk. But in the end, you just have to jump.
100%, 100%. I worked with some great business coaches that, helped me in this process, right? Of just being like, Sam, look at the numbers, man. Like, it's going to be okay, and like, especially early on. And I've gotten, like I said, more accustomed to it. But you educate yourself, and then, if it makes sense, you just gotta trust.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's interesting. I have different profiles for my chat GPT, and Sage is the one that I work with, like on more of a mindset mentality. And there's a decision that we need to make that's kind of like that risk, right? In my business right now. And I kind of just put out all of the fears and the doubts to Sage. I had a conversation, and it helped me realize, like, sometimes you feel like you can't experiment with things. And I'm sure you see this in the digital world, like marketing like crazy. I mean, it's very much A/B testing everything, right? Trial and error. And sometimes we feel like we don't have time to experiment. Like, we've got to get things going, especially if you're maybe a startup and you're listening to this. But it's not a waste of time or energy or money to try anything, because it gives you data, right? And I think that's something to remember when it comes to risk, and especially when people are taking the jump to go to AI. Like, speaking of, that's a huge risk that people, I think, have right now, is what can they do with AI? What should they do with AI? Does it match their culture and what they believe in and all of that? And really, whatever educated leap of faith that you take, as long as you're learning from it, then it's not that bad, right?
100%, right? It's not failures. It's just a lesson learned, and AI helps this process like so much, because to your point, asking, like with some mindset stuff, I'll use it like early on, right? Especially when you're a startup. I always would joke around, with like, what do you charge for this? What do you charge for that? And it's like, I feel like it's all made up, right? It's just
I know, it feels like that, huh?
yeah, so so you get nervous, and and because you feel like every pitch, it's like, if I don't get this, it's the end of the world, so I better price it right, and I know I used to do it, and a lot of people, I think, have this habit of you'll undersell yourself then.
Yeah.
And you don't want to do that. And honestly, something like that, AI is great. Hey, for this is going to be the project, what are like average costs, what are people usually paying for something like this, and then you can look and see like, oh, all right, and you can find a comfortable range, and and you put in a business plan. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? And AI is just your immediate kind of mentor there to help guide you and make you feel more comfortable in just so many business decisions.
Yeah, absolutely. I know when I first got started, even, 15 years ago with my coaching business, trying to price myself was ridiculous. I mean, I remember having a coach tell me, like, go look up 10 of your competitors and their websites, and like go figure out what their pricing is and how they packaged everything. And now we can literally just chat in with Chat GPT and do the market research for us.
Yep, it was like that used to always be like one of the biggest jokes on my team, was just that it's all made, we just whatever, especially like, starting with a lot of like political business and things like that. Those are not the type of industry where people are sharing trade secrets. Like, it's not very publicly available, and they are not, and the price ranges are crazy as is. You do a county race for a congressional, it might be the same amount of work, but you can charge on one versus the other, like
Crazy. Yeah.
yeah. And so it's all over the place. So AI is just so great on that to help provide some guidance. Again, it's not like you're getting to the penny or something, but you get such a good framework to feel comfortable with, what your next steps are.
Love it. Cool. So sounds like you're a big fan of Chat GPT. Are there any other AI tools that you guys like to use on a regular basis?
So we have been toying around with Gemini and, their video VO there, for creating quick videos for some of our clients and things like that. And we've had pretty good success with that so far. It has, of course, obviously, some room to grow. But we've been a fan, particularly when you just need some like B-roll footage for behind something. You're like, I need, a shot of New York City, like street that is like with the sunset or something, and you can have it whip something up for you. So, we really enjoyed that. Just probably a product of the fact that it being the kind of one of the big things really out there. ChatGPT is really, where I think most of our time currently is spent, putting things together, checking and just giving reviews on some of our proposals. Honestly, even to, like we talked about, you don't get stuck anymore, right? We do a lot of captions and content, and sometimes, it's human nature. You start getting stuck in the same kind of rut of like, man, these are starting to sound the same. So you go in there, have it, and you can trigger that creative process again. We really like it for that. Clients get, and it's like, sometimes clients want, and they're like, here's what we want to say. And we want to say it like a million times. And you're like, how do I say the same thing without saying the same thing over and over again? It can be challenging, right? And, no matter how creative you are, you're going to run into some trouble sometimes. And that can really help get you over some humps. We love it.
Yeah. So when mainstream AI first came out, I know a lot of marketing companies were really nervous that it was going to take over the industry. So what were your thoughts when it first came out? Were you nervous about it?
Only just because of Terminator, worried about the robots taking over the world. But no, I wasn't too nervous just because, I think there is always going to be an element of human nature that artificial intelligence can't understand. And there's no more prevalent area for that than trying like marketing and sales and things like that, where there's so much stuff that doesn't make sense that works, and I think, never say never, but I think we're a long ways away from that. Now, does it mean that, maybe some lower level type positions or, things like that maybe start to not be as necessary? Probably. But for a certain level of skill, I think that there is no concerns over that at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. So how do you balance making sure that you have that human interaction and element with the AI pieces that you do? Because you use it sounds like, in your company a lot and in a really good way. But do you have like, this is like the line where I don't cross, or how do you balance those things?
Yeah, it gets tough on certain things, especially because so much of what we do and like the clients we have, being genuine is vital. And I mean, we stress it to them constantly, whether it's they're running, they're everything from, maybe a political candidate to honestly like a local vineyard. Like, people, you need to be genuine to the people. Like it just has to be what you do. And if you go too far with the AI and the content development stuff like that, there still is that robotic feel to it. There still is that video looks a little wonky,
The arms bent this way.
Right. Yeah. Why do they got 10 fingers on one hand? So you really got to, and that can destroy credibility so fast. On social media, where people are just still, that's like a one-to-one interaction that people feel that as, right? They feel like they know you. And then if they feel like they're getting cheated on that, it's going to hurt your brand. And so I don't want to say there's like a clear line, but it is like a cognizant effort to make sure that like we don't go too far with that our eyes are on it. Hey, and it kind of comes to how much AI went into this, and that's how much more our eyes are going to be on it afterward to make sure that it still has that genuine feel. We wanted to use it to streamline and help, but not not take away, from the purpose and the goals.
Yeah. And I think that's such a good rule of thumb too, is like, I love how you said that. The more AI is involved in kind of like the front end, you want to make sure that there's human eyes on the back end so that you can add that human touch. But at the same time, it probably saves your team a lot of time up front, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's especially for a boutique agency like mine. We want to be small and responsive and know our clients, and so you having the ability to kind of take some workload off is great. And that, not only do my employees benefit, but the client benefits as well, because I mean they're getting more work, they're getting better quality, more stuff out of us, and we're not stuck like, it took me, what took like a couple of days, maybe we can do in half a day now, things like that. So
Yeah, almost going from months to minutes. Like that's how powerful AI is.
yeah.
So thinking of a challenge that you have in your business right now, like if I could create any kind of AI agent for you, since that's what we do, right? What would you want it to do for you?
Oh man, that's such a good question. I would say this might be just for me. I want one to be able to handle my books and accounting and stuff. Oh man, dealing with all that is a pain.
Yeah.
Um, that my personal thing, but for actual kind of like the business and what we're doing, uh, having AI that could simplify, I think, some of our, trying to think how to combine this into like something simple, but like the some of the tedious tasks, like when we're posting for a client, being able to kind of streamline that a little better,
Mhm.
and then streamline some of the reporting that comes back
Mhm.
would be cool. So you've got one client, they've got 5 platforms maybe they're on, right, that you have to do. So, and now there's some tools you can obviously schedule posts and things like that, but it's easy with one client. But all of a sudden now you've got 20 with all the different platforms, and then you're trying to incorporate all that data coming back. Something to kind of to streamline that, I would find like extremely useful,
I love that.
because you end up clicking around. I got a guy that does the reporting, but still sometimes it just takes a while. And in a world of digital where you part of the appeal is the quick information that you're getting from stuff. um Sometimes the bigger the client, the bigger you are, sometimes the harder, the more they're doing, the slower it is to get that information back, right? Because it's still, someone's
Mhm.
got to go in and start looking around, and so,
Yeah.
and I haven't found a tool that I've liked to do that, I guess, yet.
Do you use like one tool like Metrical or Buffer or something like that to consolidate like the client into one? Or do you have to go to every single social media platform and gather data that way?
No, so we do have one that helps us with our posting and everything like that. Where we really run into trouble is, uh, again, trouble stronger, but like where, so we'll do, streaming and OTT. And so that, comes over here, but then our social media is here. And so it's things like that. Right. And then you go in and it's like, well, Google wants to, for YouTube ads, we got to go in there. And for, Hulu, we got to go in here. And so it can get a little, as much as there's some great stuff out there currently to streamline, there's still some, I think, some growth that can happen there.
Yeah, love that. Yep, I could definitely see an AI agent doing that for you. So that's so great. And it's neat because really, I mean, it's almost like you can think of anything, any kind of business challenge that you have, and we can create an AI agent for it. There's very little that we've been able to create and to not be able to do for our clients, but it's just a fun world we live in, right? We're never stuck in anything that we think in our heads we can pretty much create now, which is really an awesome place to be.
It really is. We are, um, I think we're going to look back, and, we're really just scratching the surface with all of this.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Like this is the very early stages, I think, of, a pretty big, I don't want to say revolution, but,
Feels like
Right.
it.
It does.
We can go there. I love that. Well, this has just been such a great conversation. Thank you so much for sharing kind of the behind the scenes of what's going on with your company and just the challenges and things like that that you've been able to overcome. I know it's really inspirational for our audience. So if they want to connect with you and learn more about maybe how to work with you or just connect with you in general, where can they go?
Yeah. So company's at downstreetdigital.com. And honestly, you can email me directly. It's just snelson@downstreetdigital.com. But go on the website, reach out to us through there. And I'll be honest, I love talking with fellow business owners, people in it. It's almost like soothing to, talk about shared struggles, shared successes, and things. And so happy to, converse with anybody about this stuff. It's great. And it's fascinating, what we're all doing here. It really is.
Yeah, and we can all learn from each other. That's why I love this kind of show is like you probably gave somebody an aha moment of, oh man, I didn't even think about that. Or that relatable moment of, yep, been there, done that. That was painful.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So I love it. Well, thank you. Thank you for being on the show today. And if you guys want to learn more about what we do here at M2 AI Agency and building custom AI agents for you, go ahead and check out m2aiagency.com. So thanks for tuning in to Mastering AI Momentum, where AI means artificial intelligence, but also means abundance and impact. Because scaling isn't about doing more, it's about building smarter, staying true to what matters most to you. All right, guys, we'll see you on the next episode. Thanks so much, Sam.
Thank you.
You've been listening to Mastering AI Momentum. If today's episode gave you clarity or sparked a breakthrough, share it, review it, leave us a comment, and show Ali and Elise how you're turning AI into ROI. And make sure you subscribe, because the next episode could be the strategy that unlocks your next level. Until then, build smart, scale fast, and let AI multiply your momentum.